Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, big news. The WBO has ruled in regards to Errol Spence and Sebastian Fundora. And it's not news that I particularly like, but I would imagine that there's certain people that like it, specifically Terrence Crawford. Now, we're going to talk about this a little bit because some of the things that have been said in the past in regards to Terrence Crawford fans could come back and bite them in the you-know-what in regards to this particular ruling. Now, we know that Errol Spence dropped an emoji, a GIF, a video, whatever you want to call it, of a big fish floating around. He said it was coming soon. Got a lot of Errol Spence fans excited about the potential of Sebastian Fundora fight. We saw that Sebastian Fundora basically said in an interview that we covered here on AM Sports Media that he was going to fight Errol Spence next. I concluded that must mean that he was going to be willing to give up his WBO title, Jay, because as we saw in the latest rankings of the WBO, nothing was there in regards to Errol Spence. Well, that's not what quite happened, Jay. He's not going to have to give up his WBO belt to fight Errol Spence. That's the good news, and that's the good news for Sebastian Fundora. Here's the bad news. If he loses, in the event that he loses, and there's a chance that he could lose depending on what version of Errol Spence shows up in the ring, which I think is debatable considering he's been out of the ring for so long. He's gonna have some rust. But if Errol Spence beats him, guess what ends up happening, Jay? The WBO is going to take that belt from Sebastian Fundora, and they're not going to give it to Errol Spence. He's still not going to get ranked. They are going to hand it over to the interim WBO champion, who is Terrence Bud Crawford, which means he will become an email champion, which means he's not a real champion, right? According to many people that we've seen on social media platforms, in our comment sections, in our Discord, on our live stream that we will have today, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we do it every Sunday, so make sure you check it out. He will not be a real champion according to those folks because they are the ones that we're talking about, the Devin Haney's of the world, talking about the Jaron Ennis's of the world. Terrence Crawford will get emailed a championship belt and will be a unified champion, only beating one fighter. So, I mean, it is what it is. Number one, we've never seen in the history of the sport that you can win a interim title and you can win another title. Usually, interim titles are held for guys that are in line for actually fighting for the title, and you cannot hold both an interim title and be a contender or ranked in another sanctioning body. We've never seen that before. I'm gonna give you an example. Virgil Ortiz currently is the WBC interim title. You will not see him ranked in any other sanctioning body at 154 because that's not how it works. You can't hold interim titles and regular titles, at least not from what I've seen in the past. So very interesting. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
We actually could have seen this coming, man. The way they roll, the way they move, especially with Bud, the WBO does at least. But to the point that we talked about on previous times, on previous videos, each sanction body kind of has their own pick. They have their favorites. Just to be fair. In this case here, The WBO is with Bud. We know that. And then it's gonna be funny how Bud Crawford fans come out and just move the goalposts. Is what they're gonna say. They're gonna move it and say it's okay for him to get it this way, but no one else. Now Bud moved back. Bud took a step back, said, okay, you go ahead and fight Spence. Y'all two handle y'all business, whatever. He's chasing other things out there, is what Bud is doing. So I don't even know if Bud really wants to be at 154. So it's like everything around it, but it's an easy way for him to get a unified championship, be a unified champion at 154 without having to fight for the second belt. It's the easiest route for him if Spence wins. So he's betting his money. He's gonna bet the house on Spence for one. That's who he just beat Spence last year. And we definitely know he beat Spence last year because that's the only thing Bud fans continuously put out there over and over again. That happened over a year ago. And so I think it's BS on the way the WBO is stepping on here. So all the pressure is on Fundora. He has to win this fight for him to keep both belts, and or not be stripped of the other belt that's not even up for a shot for Spence to win it. So I think it's crap on that, but I am excited for the fight though, just because I want to see Spence back in the ring. I want to see Fundora back in the ring, especially Bud stepping aside. So it's like Fundora has to do something. So they're letting him continue with a voluntary defense, but they're not letting him keep the belt if he loses. It's not up for defense. It's only up for him to lose it, which is mess for Fundora. Now we know Fundora got the belt by beating Tim Zoo, but it was interesting how he got that win as well due to an injury that did happen to Tim Zoo on his head with the cut. That definitely changed the trajectory of the fight, but Fundora fought through the fight. He made it through the fight and got the win. But for them to take it from Fundora if he loses the Spence, even though it's not up for it to be defended, it's crap, man. It's crap on the WBO on that. And the Bud fans would not hold the same energy with Bud being emailed this belt or being a paper champ for the WBO, because that's what he would be essentially. It has nothing to do with his skills. It's just y'all logic is being used against you in this sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think that their logic would be used against them in this sense. But of course, I think these guys are going to come back with the same kind of energy. The energy will change. Goalpost moves all the time as it relates to people's favorite fighters. And that's the thing that's so interesting to me is because, I say on this channel all the time, we all have our certain biases, right? What you want to do is try to use your logic to the best of your ability when defending your favorite fighter. And a lot of times I see certain fan bases, certain fractions of factions rather of fan bases that really they don't use much logic in regards to their favorite fighter. And I think this is going to be one that bites them back in the Look, Terrence Crawford got a ton of accolades. Would I look unfavorably on him because he's emailed the title? No. Will I be calling him an email champion because the WBO sends him that belt? No. Because he has a ton of accolades. But I will then argue with certain people that he's not truly a champion at 54. If he is a champion at 54, it's only the WBA, right? He's not a unified champion at 54, not a real one, because according to these guys, he didn't beat the champion, which would be Sebastian Fundora. Well, he wouldn't be the champion at that point because essentially. Sorry about that. I don't know. The computer just had a mind of his own, but essentially, he will be he will end up being someone that I would argue, he didn't beat the champion. And I know people probably argue, well, Sebastian Fundora was no longer the champion. Yeah, but he got beat by the guy that should actually be the champion. And there's really no reason why he shouldn't have the title, right? So the bottom line would be he didn't beat who was champion at the time the title was sent to him. He beat no one to get it. So at the end of the day, that is what it is. So exactly. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to this particular situation with Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, and Sebastian Fundora. At least we're getting the fight. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, M Sports Media, and we are out.